Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Atlantic City's edition of your NAACP Speaks. I forgot what day it was. The day is September 9th. The September 9th edition of your NAACP Speaks. And we're happy to have you with us. If you are a regular listener, we say thank you for continuing to listen to the NAACP Speaks, the program that says everything NAACP, our programs, our priorities, our projections, the things that the NAACP, the oldest, the biggest, and the boldest civil rights organization in the country, is doing. I'm Kaleem Shabazz, president of the Atlantic City branch of the NAACP, and happy to be your host on this program, heading into our 6th year when we reach Martin Luther King's Day, which is January 19th, 2026. That will mark our 6th anniversary that we have been on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. And we salute our host, our brother, our media partner, William Hawks, and his lovely wife, First Lady Hawks, for having us here, for being our media partner. And we would ask our audience, please circle the date. Next Tuesday. In fact, this time we'll be getting ready for Candidates Night. Candidates Night is sponsored by the Atlantic City branch of the NAACP twice a year. In June, before the primary, or in the spring before the primary election, we have the candidates, the Republican candidates, the Democratic candidates, the independent candidates, who are registered to be on the ballot. We have them come to before a live audience and a radio audience. Of course, it's always carried live on WHA, always carried live on WEHA. So the candidates have a chance to speak directly to the audience. And our Candidates Night is just that. It's not a debate. It is a chance for candidates to speak to the audience. If they are already elected, they are given a chance to tell the audience why they want to be reelected. If they're running for the first time, they have a chance to tell the audience why they should be elected. So we're going to invite all of you to come join us on this Tuesday, September 16th, at Martin Luther King School Community Complex in Atlantic City, 1700 MLK Boulevard. And we invite you. The doors open at 5:30. The program starts at 6. We're going to have light refreshments after the program. We encourage you to come. And as we say every year, we invite all of the candidates who are on the ballot, all of the candidates who are on the ballot for the offices that are up. And those offices this year are governor, state assembly, county commissioner at large, commissioner district, surrogate, mayor of the city of Atlantic City, city council at large for the city of Atlantic City, and Atlantic City School Board. All those candidates have been invited as we have gotten their information from the city clerk and the county clerk respectively. All those candidates have received a handwritten letter and a follow-up email and call to ascertain the fact of whether they received the letter that we sent them. All of the information, their contact information, was provided by each clerk, the county clerk or the city clerk, and that is the information that each candidate gave to the clerk in their certification to be on the ballot. So that's how we done it this year. That's how we've done it every year. The NAACP invites all candidates to participate. The NAACP doesn't endorse candidates, but as I heard Reverend Sharpton say, he was in New York at his rally against Wall Street, council president, and he said, I don't endorse candidates. This is Sharpton. And he said, but I do take attendance. And he called the candidates who were at his rally. So we do the same thing in NAACP. We take attendance. We invite everyone to participate. We encourage everyone, and we hope that all of the candidates for office will come up so people can hear them. And again, that's Tuesday, September the 16th, this Tuesday coming. Doors open at 5:30. The program starts at 6 p.m. We will have light refreshments after the program. And we are going to hear after the council president segment from Reverend William Green, who is an active member of our political action committee in the NAACP. He was involved in our last candidates night, which was very successful, and we hope that this candidates night will be equally successful. Of course, it's free admission. There's no charge to get into the Martin Luther King complex, and we would encourage you to attend and hear from the candidates. Before I go to the council president, let me read to you very quickly an article from the Philadelphia Inquirer of Sunday, September 7th, just passed. And the headline in this article says 436 people were put up for sale in Savannah. 436 people were put up for sale in Savannah. And it says descendants and community members want to preserve the site where one of the largest slave auctions occurred 166 years ago. Pastor Leonard Small, who heads the Weeping Time Cultural Heritage Corridor Authority, said, just like what happened in Rosewood and in Tulsa, I believe this history had been covered up intentionally. Just like what happened in Rosewood and in Tulsa, I believe this history had been covered up intentionally. And I'm not going to read the whole article, but this is one of the things that we're going to focus on in 25, what's left, and in 2026 in the NAACP, making sure that our history is accurately told. I don't purport to be an expert on African American history, but I was very surprised by this. 430 people, it's a lot of human beings to be sold. They were sold over 2 days in March of 1859. Men, women, and children, including 30 babies, were chattel helping to settle the gambling debts of one of the South's wealthiest men. Children were ripped from their parents' arms. Husband and wives were forced apart and never to see each other again. The weeping time, families called it, because it seemed as even God could not stop crying. So this is just one of the atrocities that has happened in this country. It's something that needs to be recognized. And despite what President Trump says, we're not going to allow him to whitewash American history. Last item from Project 2025. I thought about you when I saw this, Council President. This was also in the Philadelphia Inquirer. And it says, from Project 2025 Playbook to Procreation. And the Heritage Foundation, which you and I walked past in D.C. last year, proposes massive revisions to U.S. economic policy to encourage heterosexual married couples to have more children. Read White in that. So we're going to be talking about that. As you said, we'll be going, God willing, down to D.C. again this year to talk about that. Council President, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the listening audience. I'm glad to be here today. You know, just what you read in the Inquirer, I read some similar in the Daily News. They have a house called the President's House up there, and it has all the black history of slavery. And they're fighting to preserve that because people from the government have come so that they can whitewash our history. I heard a guy say the other day, and you heard him say it too. He says, if we let someone whitewash our history or let someone tell our story, right, how can we say they're wrong?
Right.
If we let someone tell our story, how can we say that they're wrong?
Right.
So we can't let people tell our story. Slavery's part of American history, regardless of what they say. And they're going around the country. The government, the federal government is going around the country to each and every, they went to the Smithsonian Institute.
Right.
They've been to, because that's where our African American culture, slavery parties and museums at. So they're going around, and like I said, the word for me is preserve. If we don't preserve our history, who else will? It's the same as if we let somebody else tell our story, how can we say they're wrong? Right. So, you know, there's so much going on, and that it's mind-boggling. You know, you don't want to put one with the other. So we're going to separate that out and just talk about something that I saw. You know, in the time of war, we blow up ships. In the time of war, we shoot people. In the time of war, we do everything that war calls for. But there's no war right now. And a lot of stuff that's going on in the government, they don't tell us the truth. They shot a boat down. They had a press conference about shooting a boat, killing 11 people. They said it was drug cartel. I don't know that, and I'm not going to. We are against that.
Absolutely.
But what's the due process for anyone? Where's the due process? Why couldn't we capture the boat,
Right.
bring them in, and do due process?
Right.
That seems to me was judge, jury, and execution, all in one. And to have a press conference over it, there was still human life. That's all I'm talking about is human life. Not what they are, what they did, but it was a way to do it. You don't have a... And it kind of went away because it's in Venezuela. It kind of just went away. You know what I mean? If it was a war, you have no... You understand, but
Right.
we haven't declared war. I got a feeling that may happen now just to cover that up. I don't know, and I pray to God that it doesn't. But when you become judge, jury, and executioner, there's no due process.
Right.
You know, the PBS stations are suffering because of the money that's been cut from them.
Right.
So that means they're stifling us from talking.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, they say, oh, well, they can make it without our money. Evidently, they can't because that's what was funding them. U.S. dollars, American dollars, taxpayers' dollars. But when you take that away, what are you doing? You're stifling the voice in America. So there's 2025.
2025.
So there's so many things. That was just two of the things that I just looked, and it kind of glossed over it when it came to judge execution. You know what I mean? Like, how can you do that? You know? But when we go to Washington, now we're hearing that they're ramping up in D.C. So we'll be there. And is that because it's the Black Caucus?
That's a good question.
I'm just asking.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying that's a good question.
They're ramping up.
Because they know thousands of people come from all over the country.
Thousands of people going to be there, will be there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're ramping up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Chicago is raising Cain. They said, we ain't having it.
That's right.
The governor's out. The mayor's there. So where you go? We're going to ramp up in D.C.
That's right.
I don't think that's coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's on purpose. I mean, they know that we're going to be there for that whole week. Well,
Right.
you know, we're going to be there for the main parts.
Right.
You know, that party and stuff we don't do. And I don't think there's going to be that many parties because this is some serious business.
For real, for real.
For real. Because Harrods house is right around the corner, so you just read something about it. But these are the things that's going on in D.C. And we're getting ready to go to seem like a foreign country now. You know, you got the National Guard there.
Yeah.
You know.
You got people with masks on.
Mask on, you know. I'm going to be real skeptical, but I'm going, and I'm going to be very mindful where I'm at.
Absolutely.
You know, I always am on my best behavior, but
Right.
I'm going to be on my A game when it comes to behavior because I don't want nobody putting the baronet in front of my... And we're American citizens.
Absolutely. We're elected officials.
And we're elected officials. And this is happening
Right.
right now under our noses in our country.
That's right.
And that looks like a Putin play. You know, it just kind of smells funky. You know what
That's
I mean?
what our legal redress advisor said, Mr.
Yeah.
President, last night in ACP Council.
Yes.
In ACP meeting, he said that.
Yeah, it's like a play out of the, you know, the communism book. You know what I mean? Like, you, the American citizens in this country are being corralled and watched over by the federal government. You know, you got the United States National Guards in these cities.
Right.
But if you ever notice, the cities that they're surrounding are cities of color.
So Lisa Carr.
They've
That's
got
right.
Philadelphia on the list.
Yeah.
And the governor there, Shapiro, said
We
we're
got New
gearing
York
up
on the list.
You got New York on the list. You know, they've had California on the list. So we're gearing up against the president that's gearing up to surround us. That's not a good combination.
That's right.
We're supposed to be the land of the free. We're supposed to have democracy, and we're supposed to have freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
Are you stifling it? Seems like it to me. And I read an article a long time ago, probably about 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. He said not only are they implementing 2025, guess what? They're doing it right in front of your face.
Right.
It ain't like they hiding and
Right.
they in some alley or,
Right.
you know, they're doing it right in front of your face. That's mind-boggling. It's scary, you know, because we are a country of supposed to be liberties.
That's right.
We're supposed to have the right to protest. This country was built on protest.
Absolutely.
You know, and we're supposed to have the right to say, this is not correct. The government is not doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help the people, not hurt us. And, you know, if we don't stand up, you know, we don't protest, slowly but surely, the articles you read, the things that I've read, the things that we see, every day you turn on the news, it's a press conference.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing this, we're going to do that, but it's always poor people, working people, and people of color.
That's it.
And that covers a multitude of things. So, you know, that's one black man's opinion, but that's the facts. I do not try to spew anything. We don't do like the White House.
No, we
so
don't.
many lies have come out of there, you don't know the truth from falsehood. You know, so we tell you what we read, we tell you what we know, and we tell you what we see. We actually saw the Heritage House.
We did. We walked past
We
it.
walked right past it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of that diabolical stuff was going on right then and there, right in that building. We didn't go in the building,
Right.
but we know where the building is, and we walked past it. And I was shocked. I was like, wow.
That's right.
Didn't see nobody coming in, didn't see nobody going out, but
That's
we
right.
know something was going on.
That's right.
You know, so that's my spill for the day, and it's not a spill, it's the truth. You know what I mean? It's my truth, and it's the way the things are going now, and it's not. America will stand up. I believe there is a God, I know, and I know that people need to start getting ready to gear up to have to fight for your own rights in a country that's supposed to be for the free. So that's it for now, and if you need any more, I'm here.
Okay, if you just tuned in, that's the regular segment of Council President Aaron Sporty Randolph, representing the First Ward in the city of Atlantic City, and our longtime regular contributor here on UNACP Speaks. Let me give you a couple dates before we get to Reverend Miller. Monday, October 20th, Reverend Green, he works with Reverend Miller. Reverend Green, Monday, October 20th is the NACP meeting. Normally, we meet on the second Monday of the month, and we had a great meeting last night. We had a presentation from Dr. Regis talking about health disparities and announcing that there's going to be a birthing clinic soon in Atlantic City where women can give birth, and how he can cut into the health disparities and the infant mortality rate that's intolerably too high in Atlantic City and Atlantic County. We had a presentation from Councilwoman Stephanie Marshall talking about her work in the Revenue and Finance Committee in the city of Atlantic City, and Councilwoman Patricia Bailey, her work in City Council and what she's doing. We also had a presentation from Tim Alexander, who's our legal redress officer, talking about some of the unconstitutional things that this administration is doing and how the NAACP and other organizations are fighting back against it. And like the council president said, how people are organizing non-violently across this country. And that brings me to the date of October 18th. October 18th is another mass mobilization across this country of Invisible and other organizations. Invisible is an organization that the NACP is partnering with. Our good friend Indivisible. Our good friend Alice Garcia was there last night and talked about that and asked for people to join. Also segued into what Tim Alexander asked and encouraged people to join us in nonviolent demonstrations against the authoritarian and the anti-democratic measures that President Trump wants to take. So that's October 18th. You'll be hearing more about that as we come closer. October 20th, again, is the third Monday. Please come to the NAACP meetings. Also, again, September 16th, you're going to hear about Candidates Night. But in addition to that, we are partnering, the Atlantic City branch NAACP and the mainland branch NAACP for National Voter Registration Day, which is also Tuesday, September 16th, which is a national nonpartisan effort to get people to register to vote. Not for any particular party, but to get them to register to vote to exercise their democratic rights to address their government, as the council president said. And very important every year, but particularly this year in New Jersey, there are only 2 races for governor in the country. One is in Virginia. The second one is in New Jersey. So we are encouraging people, ma'am, please, and sir, please register to vote and vote. Vote your interests, vote your values. Also, let's give a shout out to Reverend Collins A. Days, who was a member of the NAACP. He unfortunately was sworn in to take the place of our brother beloved Ernest D. Coursey, who passed away. Ernest Coursey was the freeholder in the 1st District, which is Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, and a part of Egg Harbor Township. He passed away in the Atlantic County Democratic Committee selected and endorsed Reverend Collins A. Days to fill his unexpired term. And we want to congratulate Reverend Days on that. I know he's going to do a fine job. He's already attended his first meeting, and he will stand for election in November, and the people will have their say. Reverend Green, welcome to the microphone. And I think, is this your first time?
No, it's not my first time, but it always seems like first
Okay.
time.
We're so happy to have you. Reverend Green is a longtime Atlantic City activist, thespian, religious leader, social justice advocate, and working with us on the Candidates Night. For the people who are listening, why is Candidates Night important, and how can they get involved?
Well, first, let me just say hello to everybody who is listening to us this afternoon, and hello to my fellow participants here in this room.
Yes, sir.
Why is Candidates Night so important? Well, I'd like to start by saying that on November 4th,
Yes, sir.
2025, we're going to have elections in the state of New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
And the polls open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. And this election is, well, every election is extremely important.
Right.
But this election takes on even more importance because we may be facing a time when we might not have any more elections. And so it's essential that we do everything in our power to participate in this election. And in order to participate, and as President Sabara said, we don't endorse candidates, but we do endorse the notion of knowing who the candidates are,
That's right.
knowing what their point of view is, and knowing how what they are aspiring to do lines up with what we as a community think is important in our lives. And so that's why this Candidates Night that is coming up on the 16th is so important. It is one way to begin that process of finding out who these candidates are,
Right.
listening to what they say, figuring out, does that speak to me and my children and my family and my community? Is this what I want to see? Particularly, we're talking about southern New Jersey and Atlantic City, but the state of New Jersey is involved in it too, because the governor's race is important. The assembly race
Right.
is important. And so we need to participate. And let me say this before I go into any more details about the Candidates Night. I think we need to look around and assess what kind of community, what kind of world do we want to bring our children and our grandchildren up in?
And our great-grandchildren.
And our great-grandchildren. We have a say in that.
Right, right.
And we can speak to that in this election that's coming up on November the 4th. And so now the candidates night, President Shabazz mentioned it at the beginning of the program, that it is on the 16th, November the 16th.
September the 16th.
I'm sorry, did I say November?
You said November.
I got November on my brain because of the election.
Yes, sir.
But let me correct that hurriedly.
Yes, sir.
It's September the 16th, and it
Yes, sir.
begins. Well, the doors open at 5:30 p.m.
Doors open at 5:30. Yes, sir.
and the program begins at 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And as the president said, it's not a debate. This is an opportunity for the candidates to run, who are running, to tell all of the people who come out that night who they are and why they feel that you should vote for them. And so if you want to meet the candidates and know what they're saying, you need to try and be there on September the 16th.
That's right.
At Martin Luther King School Complex.
That's right.
On Martin Luther King Boulevard, 1700.
1700.
Martin Luther King Boulevard, to listen to those candidates.
That's a Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday.
Yes,
That's
it
a
is.
week from today.
That's a week from today.
Yes, sir.
And if I could shout it loud enough, if I could scream it from the top of my lungs. We used to have a saying when I was a young man and growing up, and we'd be in the middle of a party, and everybody would be out on the dance floor dancing, and somebody would yell out, "The roof, the roof, the roof is on fire." Now, I'm not going to say how we answered that question back then, because partying was the most important thing on our mind. But I got to tell you that the roof is on fire.
Yeah.
And if we don't get out and vote,
We're gonna burn down.
the thing is going to burn down.
Yep.
So let me emphasize as much as I can how important this election is.
That's right.
And I can't tell you how much I want to see everybody who's listening to this program tonight. Please come out and vote. Now, in order to vote, you got to register.
Got to register.
If you're not registered, you can't vote.
That's right.
That's right.
So you got to register first, and then make sure you vote. You want to show your children what's going on. We're making history right now. We're in the midst of history. You know, our council president talked about history and how people are shading the history and trying to tell you things that are not true. Well, we're a part of history now.
right.
And you can become a part and have an enormous influence on how the next 4 years in particular turn out if you turn out to vote.
Let me ask you a question, because I know some people might be thinking, do we give, and I know the answer obviously, but for the audience, do we give the candidates the questions in advance?
We do not. We do not give the candidates the questions in advance. What we want, the questions are asked and developed in such a way is that you get to see the candidates as they are. They get an opportunity to speak to you from questions that they've not heard before. And it's important that you know that all of the candidates who are going to be on the ballot have been invited, regardless of party.
Right.
They've been invited.
Yes, sir.
Now, whether they come, we can't be sure, but an invitation has been extended,
And they have received the invitation.
and they have received the invitation.
Okay.
There is a message in that. If they show up, they're interested in you.
Right.
If they don't show up, it may mean, I can't say that it does,
Right.
because there's always situations.
That's right.
But it may mean they're not.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you just tuned in, you're listening to Reverend William Green, who is representing the Political Action Committee of the Atlantic City branch of the NAACP. and he is talking about Candidates Night, which is going to be Tuesday, September 16th. Doors open at 5:30. Program starts at 6 p.m. What is your anticipation, Reverend Green? This is going to be your third Candidates Night as you prepare for the Candidates Night. What is your anticipation of the night? How it's going to turn out?
What what
are you hoping for? Let me say that.
I'm optimistic about it, first of all. But what I'm hoping for is a night where the candidates feel comfortable and free expressing themselves and expressing who they are and what they want for our city and for our community. And I'm hoping that there's some enthusiastic participation.
Let me ask you a question. Again, I know the answer, obviously, as the president of the chapter, but just for the audience's information, we're going to have candidates from running for state assembly and those in the state assembly. We're going to have candidates running for the position of surrogate, county commissioner, mayor of the city of Atlantic City, councilperson of Lawrence City of Atlantic City, board of education. Is the committee crafting the same question for each candidate, or are you targeting the questions to the office that the candidates are running for? And if so, why are you doing it?
Well, there are obviously some questions that are the same for each candidate. And that is when we try to get them to explain why they're running for whatever office it is that they're running for.
Okay.
But in some instances, the specific office that they're running for may be targeted with a question, and what their vision is for that particular office.
Do you expect that their questions will elicit answers that will be informative to the audience?
I'm extremely hopeful that that's the case. And historically,
Right.
that has been the case.
Yeah, I want to commend the committee. You've done an excellent job, the committee, putting questions together, making sure that people have a chance to answer the question that relates to them, because you can't ask a state candidate, well, you can, but it wouldn't make much sense to ask a state candidate a question on the federal level, because he or she doesn't have the ability to impact that. And the same thing with someone on the local level, asking them a county question. If people can't make it, we have an option. It's going to be live on WHA as it was last year, and the year before, and the year before, the year before that. Would you encourage people, Reverend, if they can't make it, don't just throw up their hands if they're working or they're taking care of. In fact, one of our guests today is with a sick parent. If they can't make it, would you encourage them to listen to it on the radio?
I would definitely encourage them to listen to it on the radio. I would encourage people to be in communication with their friends and with their family, to encourage them to come. If you can't make it, send somebody to come from your family.
Take notes.
Right, and take notes so
Take
that
notes.
you find out what happened at that meeting.
That's
yes,
right.
very definitely. Find out what went on in any way you can.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Council President, anything?
I was fortunate enough to go and be at Candidates Night 4 times, and I think you did all 3 of them. I can't remember who did the first one,
Right.
but because I've been this is my 4th term, and
I think Yolanda might have done it.
I think Yolanda was,
Right.
but I've
Yolanda
and,
Melville,
and,
yeah.
and it's a good. It's not a forum, but it's a good Candidates Night is a good measure of what are you going to get from people that are running for office.
Yeah.
You know, you ask some tough questions, but they were fair.
Right.
They were fair questions, and they were questions that you had to ask spontaneously because there was.
Because you don't get the answers.
You don't get the answers, so
Yeah,
you
right.
have to know why you're running for office.
Right.
The reasons you're running for office. You know, some people run for office would be self-serving.
Right.
You know, other people run for whatever your issues are.
Right.
But that candidates night was good for me because it gave me an opportunity, especially my first one, to let people know, listen, the reason why I'm running, I want to be a public servant.
Right.
I think I was the first one to come out the box, and then everybody started following suit. Not that, I was trying to be different, but that's what I am. That's what I was taught. So that candidates night was good. It's very informative, and then you see who's running for office sitting in front of you. And I like the job that you do. You're a great moderator. So I know because I've been in front of you 3 times and once in front of Yolanda.
Right.
The format also demands of the candidates that they collect their thoughts.
That's right.
Exactly.
In a short and concise fashion.
That's right.
And the people hearing their response get a chance to see how they think on their feet. And I kind of like that.
I really liked it.
This is really like a job interview, isn't it?
It is. It is.
That's what it is.
And the fact of the matter is, that's what this election is.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's a job interview.
And now we're hiring people.
That's right. That's right.
For a job.
Speaking of hiring people, let me just mention, and please take note, everybody. One of the things we're going to do, we, the NAACP, in conjunction with our brothers and sisters in Pleasantville, we're going to have an election fact sheet for you when you come there. Everyone will get it. It's going to have when the voting takes place, how to vote, where you can find out about voting. Early voting. Early voting is going to begin October 25th to November the 2nd. Mail-in ballots, we're going to talk about that. We're going to mention polls to the souls to the polls, which we do every year. It's the Sunday, the last Sunday in October, sponsored by the Lancaster branch and NAACP. So you're going to get a lot of information when you come to the candidates night, in addition to seeing and hearing the candidates. So I just wanted to tell you that.
And if it wasn't the NAACP and certain organizations, because it's very few candidate nights or even forums.
Right.
People just say, he's running or she's running. You need to have these. I attended. If the Bungalow Park Civic Association had one, I would be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they wanted me in another area, we in ward, so I only stayed in my ward.
Right.
But some other areas don't have them.
Right.
So you have to have candidates night by the NAACP to be spearheading other people. Say maybe we'll have one.
Right.
I know. I'm not going to announce it now, but I know the Bungalow Park Association is getting ready to have a night. We need to know, these things, and I'll have the date and answers when I come.
And there's one other important thing about the information that's given out at this candidates night. It is a place where you can get accurate. Factual information.
There you go.
Say that again,
because
Reverend.
quiet as it's kept,
Right.
there's a lot of folks
That's right.
that distribute false information
Exactly.
That's it.
order to confuse people.
Right.
And in order to cut down on the number of people who might show up to
That's
vote.
right.
And you, if you have the facts, are in a position not to allow anybody to tell you what your rights are.
That's right.
As far as this election goes.
That's right. Misinformation is a terrible tool that has been used frequently at the federal level.
Even more so this year.
And even more so this year.
Christian?
So my question is, what are we doing to make sure that the audience feels heard, if you will? Because I know you're saying that you formulate questions a certain way. Is there going to be a part where the audience can have their, because there might be something that
what we do, I'm glad you said that. Our protocol is when people come in, we hand them cards, and they can write their question down. It's not going to be a town hall. We're not going to let people stand up. And the reason we don't do that, I'm glad you said that, is because some people come to these events with an ulterior motive. They want to turn it out. They want to be disruptive. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to get in the paper. They want to get on YouTube. And that's not what the NAACP is about. Our goal as Reverend Green said, as the council president said, is to present the candidates so that people can make a choice of who they want to vote for, based on not someone making a spectacle of themselves, not on someone trying to get in the newspaper or on TV or on YouTube, but based on what the candidates have as their platform, as their intention, as their experience, as their passion.
That's right.
So that's how we do it, why we do it like that. And the questions will be given to Reverend Green and Reverend Miller and the other moderators to vet. Because some people write questions that are not geared to get information.
No.
And they're geared to attack people. We don't do that in NACP. People do what they do, but we don't do that. The NACP's form is for information and for edification and awareness. That's what we do. So people will have a chance to write their question down. And what we've done in the past, if we don't get to all the questions, which we might not, because you figure all the candidates we have school board candidates, we have 6 council at large candidates, 2 mayor candidates, 4 state assembly candidates, 6 commissioner candidates, 2 surrogates. So that's a lot of candidates. So people will have a chance to get their questions answered at a later date if they're not answered then, if their question is germane, and if their question is I don't want to say responsible, but if their question is a genuine, acceptable question.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
And the length of time we do this, because I've always been a candidate. How long?
6 to 9.
6 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, we could go longer than that, but we have to keep it.
You got to condense it.
You condense it.
Yeah.
And again, the committee does an excellent job.
They do.
They work on the questions, and that's why I said, because one person asked me, well, who gets the questions in advance? I said nobody gets it. You've been there. You never got the questions in advance.
I said I was there 4 times. I've never gotten a question in advance. I had to act, like you said, spontaneously.
Right.
The questions were on point.
Right.
And if you didn't know what you were talking about, it would show. You know what I mean? It would show, because the questions, some of them were hard, but they were fair.
They were fair.
We're also looking for an atmosphere that is filled with civility.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
And respect.
Yes.
And respect.
For both the people who are in attendance
Yes.
Right.
and for the candidates.
That's
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, Reverend, because
I'm glad he did
unfortunately, at the federal level, as the council president said, we have a person who is disrespectful to just about everybody. And rude and ignorant, and we don't do that in the NACP. We respect everyone, and I must say that out of all of the candidates that I've been, since I've been the president, we've had several. We've never had incidents. We don't have. We did have one. A gentleman tried to disrupt.
I remember.
You remember at the? I was at MLK too.
Yes, he was at MLK.
And you know what? He was an unsuccessful candidate.
Yes, he was.
In fact, he was spectacularly unsuccessful.
Several times.
Yes.
Several times.
So,
yeah.
But we're not going to have that. I'm looking forward to Candidates Night, September 16th, this Tuesday, one week from today. We encourage you, please join us. Martin Luther King Complex, 1700 Martin Luther King Boulevard in Atlantic City. Doors going to open at 5:30. Program's going to start at 6. We're going to have some light refreshments afterwards. And we encourage you to come. As Reverend Green has said so articulately, all of the candidates have been invited.
Yep.
All the candidates have received a notice. And I have a feeling this year that we're going to see some candidates from areas that we haven't seen, like in the primary, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it turns out.
What I like is that I'll be there as a spectator.
Right.
You
So
know
you
what
have to answer no questions.
I have to ask I can still go to Candidates Night, but as a spectator, and I don't have to answer no questions.
Right.
We have a moderator,
Right.
and you have your candidates on the stage.
On stage, right.
Future ones or the ones that want to be, but it won't be me because I'll be a spectator. That's all. I do come when I'm not running. I'm not like some people, they go to, once they get in or they, made appearance, they don't come back. But I've been to every one that I can remember that, and as a spectator now.
So don't ask you no questions.
Don't ask me no questions. Just you got a moderator and you got candidates up there. already in office. Thank God.
As the council president said, we encourage you. Let me say the mail-in ballots are going to come out too in September, and that information will be there. If you vote by mail, what am I talking about? This is September, right around the time of the candidates' night. The mail-in ballots come out. I believe they come out September 20th. The reason that we scheduled the candidates' night in September, because before, remember, we did it in October. But now with mail-in ballots, the whole campaign timeline has changed. Because in October, people have already voted. A lot of people who vote by mail. I know. As soon as we get our ballot in my house, we fill them out, and I take them and we put them in the secure box. Also, in coming weeks, we're going to talk about the mechanics of voting. We're going to talk about all of the dates that are important of voting. We're going to talk about souls to the polls, why that's important. We're going to talk about early voting and the sites for early voting, and of course, Election Day. But by Election Day, that whole dynamic has changed.
Yes, it has.
All three of us, Kristen is too young to remember, but the three of us, we remember the only time you voted was Election Day.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's right.
If you didn't vote Election Day, you didn't vote.
That's it.
But now you can early vote.
Yeah.
You can vote by mail.
Yeah.
You can vote provisional.
Yeah.
And you can vote Election Day.
That's right.
So it's a whole new dynamic. And also, let me mention, people who are finished probation or parole can vote.
They can vote.
That is something new.
Yeah.
When we were coming up, if you were on probation, you couldn't
Yeah,
vote.
you couldn't vote, but you can vote now.
You can vote now.
You can vote.
And that's thanks to the NAACP and other organizations that we fought for that.
Yeah.
So if a person is listening and they have finished parole, finished probation, not incarcerated, they can vote.
They can vote.
They can register and they can vote, and that's brand new.
That's brand new.
For the last couple of years, we're still fighting for same day registration.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten that in New Jersey, but we're fighting for that. But if you're on parole or probation, or you know someone, your family, your friends, your neighbor who's on parole or probation, has finished parole or probation, as long as they're not in jail in New Jersey, they can register and vote. And we'd encourage them to register and vote.
That's an extremely important point.
Yeah, because a lot of people, we've had voter, you have done a lot of voter registration with us, right? When we're out and people don't want to tell their business, but they come up whisper, they say, listen, I'm on probation, I don't think I can vote. Yeah, you can vote.
You can vote.
Well, I'm on parole. Yeah, you can vote. You, as long as you're not in jail in New Jersey, you can vote.
You can vote.
Now, other states we can't speak for.
We can't speak.
But New Jersey, you can vote, and we encourage you to vote. We encourage you to vote. That's important. We encourage
Very
everybody to vote. And again, and we make this announcement as we get in closer to the election season. And ACP does not endorse any candidate, but we do encourage people to vote. We do encourage people to register. We do encourage people to look at the platforms of candidates, to look at the positions of candidates, and to look at questions and how people stand. And I know I'm looking at people to see how they stand as a candidate, if they are a candidate, in relation to some of the anti-democratic things that President Trump is doing.
Right, and I'm glad you said that, because that's when you can tell, and you said it so eloquently, Reverend Green, who's for who. Because if you are serving on a municipal level, why are you voting on the national level as a politician? You have constituents that are of every demographic. And we have that in our city. You know, what I'm saying is, to break it down to its lowest common denominator, we're a municipality. And when you're a municipality, you serve all your citizens. You don't vote party lines.
Right.
You vote for the issue.
Right.
Whatever the issue is that is affecting that person or the parties that's in your district, that's what you vote on. You don't vote party lines.
Right.
You vote on the issues. In the federal level, you see how it goes.
Yeah.
Straight party line. Straight party line. We ain't talking Republican or Democrat, just party lines. You can figure it out. They straight. But we're a municipality. We're not on the federal level.
Right.
And if you break it down and you come down, when you serve constituents, even on the federal level, you're supposed to vote
For your
for the
constituents.
issue,
Absolutely.
for your constituents.
Yes,
But
sir.
they done flipped that around completely. It's straight party line, and that has to go because now you're looking at dictatorship. Because who's at the helm? You look at somebody telling you this is where you have to vote, but on a local level, you don't do that. You vote for your constituents. You know.
Reverend Green, for someone who just tuned in, and we have about 7 minutes to go, we're going to start wrapping it up. For someone who's just tuned in, you've been talking about Candidates Night in Atlantic City. For if they missed part of the program, how would you recap why it's important, what's happening with Candidates Night, what can they expect if they come to Candidates Night?
Well, let me just repeat. When I was in school, I was always told if you hear the teacher repeat something 2 or 3 times, take a note on
That's
that.
it.
Exactly.
Because that's important.
That's important.
And you may see it on an exam. It's the same thing for this candidates night and for voting. We mention it more than one time so that if you weren't listening for whatever reason earlier in the program, you'll know. It is September 16th. Beginning, the doors open at 5:30
5:30.
at Martin Luther King School Complex.
Exactly.
And that's at 1700 Martin Luther King Boulevard. And we are extending an invitation to everybody in the community who can make it to come out to Candidates Night and meet the candidates and take notes on those candidates that line up with what you think our community ought to look like over the next few years.
And also, thank you very much, Reverend Green, who's on our Political Action Committee. Council President just showing me something that's very disturbing about President Trump might try to use emergency powers. And you said it, Reverend Green, to not have elections. That's how one of the ways President Trump is going to try to control what's happening in this country. That's another reason we have to be mobilized. Tuesday, September 16th, from 2 to 5 p.m. In the Sheila Y. Oliver courtyard, we're going to be registering people. So if you are not registered and you're listening, come join us Tuesday at 2 to 4 in the courtyard in front of between City Hall and the County Building, and you can get registered to vote. There's going to be some refreshments there. There are going to be speakers there talking about voting in a nonpartisan way this Tuesday, and then we're going to be on our radio show program from 4:30 to 5:30 here on WEHA, talking to everything NAACP, and then after that, from 5:30 on, the live broadcast of our Candidates Night 2025, when you will hear and see candidates asking questions from our Political Action Committee, and if we have time, from the audience, so that you can get a full picture of what the candidates in the election 2025 are offering up, what they are looking for, and how we can get involved. Also, early voting begins October 25th to November 2nd. Mail-in ballots come out September 20th. And as I said before, we're going to have a package of information for you. It's only one page on both sides, a card that we have developed, the Atlantic City branch NAACP, and also Pleasantville NAACP under the leadership of our good friend, Sister Olivia Caldwell, and our Political Action Chair, Marcus Wilson. We're going to hand that card out to people that has all this information on it. So if you want to be an if you want to be a 2025 election expert, make sure you come out, get a copy of the election piece that we're going to hand out, and show it to your friends, show it to your neighbors, show it to your church members, your synagogue members, your mosque members, so they can understand the election process and what's happening. Closing remarks, Kristen.
if you cannot be in the building for our candidates night, listen to WHA.
WHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM.
Yeah.
We'll be live on the radio. Council President, closing remarks.
Just glad to be here today. Glad that we talked, and glad to see Reverend Green here, who's a great moderator. Looking forward to candidates night, and everybody keep their eyes open.
Yeah. You say not having to answer any questions.
Yes, yeah, just be a candidate. A spectator. I don't have to answer any questions, but everybody keep their eyes open.
That's right.
Keep your eyes open.
Thank you. Reverend Green, closing comments, sir.
I would just say develop an awareness
Okay.
so that you know that whether you vote or don't vote, you're voting.
That's right.
And
Say that again? That's profound.
whether you vote
Right.
or don't vote,
Right.
you're voting.
You're voting.
And it has an impact on how your life is going to be spent over the next few years, and more importantly, how your tax dollars are going to be spent.
I like that. I'm going to use that. Whether you vote or you don't vote, you're voting. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
That was Reverend William Green from the Atlantic City Branch of NAACP, our Political Action Committee. You've also heard from Council President Aaron Sporty Randolph, our regular contributor here on UNACP Speaks, and of course Kristen, who is our media maven and engineer par excellent.
Yes.
Who gave her input as she does frequently on this program. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone.
Appreciate you, Miss Christian.
We thank you. Reverend Green, thank you so much for taking your time. Looking forward to the excellent job that you and Reverend Miller and Miriam Sarham and Michael Johnson and Marilyn Kirkland, Kristen Ragland, all do is a good team of hard workers who are trying to make sure that people get information. That's what it's all about. Again, we don't tell people how to vote, but we do encourage people to vote, that which is very important. You've been listening to UNACP Speaks, heard here every Tuesday from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM, under the leadership of our brother beloved William Hawks and Sister Elaine Hawks, a dynamic duo that we have been with for 5 years, our media partners. Also, let me give a shout out to Mike B's Luncheonette in Atlantic City, who provided food for over the 20 men who met with Reverend Days and myself at New York Avenue School, the first day of school, to welcome the youngsters, welcome the staff, welcome the community, welcome the teachers back to New York Avenue School. Hats off to Mike Bees, who made a delicious breakfast sandwich and platters for the brothers who came out. And also, let me say to my other principal, Jody Burrows, my neighbor, we're going to be doing things in Dr. Martin Luther King Complex to help young people see men supporting them. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we always win. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week, 4:30 live. We will be at MLK School for Candidates Night. And after the program, Candidates Night 2025 from the Atlantic City branch of the NAACP. God bless you. Stay well. See you next week.